It's been a long time, man. I don't know
Oh.
who's gonna do the intro. I'm pretty rusty.
I'll do it. I got
Are you
it.
sure?
Can
Yeah. Well,
Don't-
why?
Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for fuck, I'm frozen.
Welcome back to Maganda Forever podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Monica,
I'm Matt.
I'm Vince.
and some life events took us away, but we're back.
We are back. It's been a minute.
It's been like
So many things.
2 months. But yeah,
This episode, we're going to talk about the weddings we've been at. We're not going to talk about any comic books.
But for real, we're sad that we missed most of What If. I know that we left you guys off, I think, on episode 2. So we're gonna cover kind of our takeaways and what highlights we wanted to do from the ending. What thoughts
I gotta
we might
say,
have.
For some of those episodes, I was like, join me and ask the question, who
Why?
cares?
I was gonna say, why?
Who gives a shit?
Because it links to the movies. That's why.
Yeah, I guess. They could have done without that Thor one.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I would say not another.
Nice.
Put it back down.
Nice.
Not another.
What is this? It's shit.
Brings it back.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many people they brought in, how many people they weren't able to bring in, but we'll get into that later. We are also going to cover the Injustice animated movie. So for those of you who are familiar with the games, or maybe you're familiar with the comics, we are
I'm not. Vince, you watched the cutscenes for the game and you read the comics, right?
I did that, but that was a while ago.
It's been a
and
while.
I feel like
I didn't like recap before going into this.
Oh,
so
good. You have a better insight. I went into this cartoon dry, and I actually kind of liked it. But I feel like if I had the source material, I might not have liked it as much. And I don't think
I'm
Amazon
opposite.
liked it as much because 2.5 stars apparently on
So
Prime.
I knew the main key points. There are a few things that I was a little confused about towards the end because I feel like they might have changed it in the comics. So that's where Vince, you can step in because I know that you're more familiar. I did play a little bit of the first game, but I know there's like 2, 3, whatever what number they're on right now. Gods Among Us.
If I tried playing that game, the only story I would get was I fucking suck, dude. I did the fatality. God damn it. Not fucking working. If I was good at fighting games, I would know the whole story, but no, I don't have patience to watch a 7-hour cutscene. So
So spoilers for What If, spoilers for the DC Injustice animated movie, comic, and video game. I think the original was a video game, and it's kind of like a Mortal Kombat like fight, one-on-one fighter with like some plot thrown in. I think they got more plot as they went to like sequel games, and then eventually someone turned it into a comic book, which I think the movie is largely based off of.
Yeah.
So,
but before we go into that or all the other DC stuff, let's talk about What If. So, overall impressions. What are you guys thinking?
What episode did we leave off on? Probably should have asked you guys before the podcast.
I think we did
It was
1 and
early.
2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we
and
missed
2.
a whole bunch.
I know we saw to Star-Lord. We saw
that one. We saw the Ant-Man one.
the Ant-Man.
I don't think I think we left off on the Doctor Strange one because I really wanted to talk about it. And I don't think that we did.
Was that after the Who Killed the Avengers one? Oh, that was the
Isn't
Ant-Man.
that the
that's
Ant-Man one?
Okay,
Yeah.
then there's hell of episodes, probably like 4 or 5 we didn't cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna touch on each storyline because each one is like its own little pocket and they come together in the end. What we are gonna do is like some takeaways, some things we liked about the series, and maybe talk about the finale. Is that okay with you guys? So we're
Audience?
not gonna we're not gonna delve deep.
One listener in Hawaii.
So we're not going to delve super deep into the storylines, unfortunately, just because we got really, really busy this summer. So
let us know what you think in the comment.
When we say like, comment, and subscribe, we don't mean one comment. Anyway, some of the nuances I liked was as the episodes.
Can we recap the episodes just in general, like the premise? Because I know the Thor and Jane one, which was basically an advertisement for Thor: Love and Thunder. I could have done without. That was definitely filler, even though it led into the Ultron winning. I could have done without that whole episode. I'm blanking on other ones.
So I'm bringing up all of the episodes just so that I have at least the titles.
Nice. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Vinny?
So I was just gonna go off of what Matt was saying, was basically just that Thor one, in my opinion, also was just a filler episode. It was funny, but that's about it. Like it had its moments of it was cool to see some other characters. They brought back some other people from some of the movies. They brought back some characters from like previous episodes and stuff like that. So it was cool. It was funny, but it didn't really do anything for me.
I feel like it only served its purpose at the end because it led us into the finale. Okay, so the ones that we covered were Captain Carter, where basically Agent Carter takes Steve Rogers' place. And
just name them. Name the ones we covered. We don't have to go over it.
Okay. So the first episode was what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? And then we also covered what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And then the last one we covered was what if the world lost its mightiest heroes?
Okay. So Zombies was pretty dope,
Ant-Man one.
but that's when I started to get pissed off at like the part 2 episodes. I'm like, dude,
You wanted each episode to be its own.
Yeah, I wanted it. I get that they have to leave it open-ended so they can continue it in the second season or maybe even third season. But like, I thought it was going to be like small contained stories each episode, not like to be continued ones along the way.
Zombies kind of came into play towards the end. We see them again in the finale. The ones that we didn't cover was Doctor Strange, Zombies, Killmonger, the Thor episode, If You Were an Only Child, and what if Ultron won, and then into the finale. So
the other filler I thought was the Killmonger one.
No, I knew it. I knew you would say that one.
I wasn't really feeling that one.
Talking to people at your wedding, it was a mixed bag. A lot of people actually said that they didn't like that one, but I did. I liked it.
I didn't like it because there was, for me, a few plot holes where, like, not super big plot holes, but just like, how did he get away with so much so easily? Because in the movies, he was pretty smooth in like being able to infiltrate Wakanda, but then just all the stuff with Tony, I guess, because we're so used to him at least being a little bit more sane.
The multiverse means that there's an infinite number of possibilities, and that means that we get to look into one where Eric Killmonger is that gangster. All right.
All right.
Yeah, don't make me go Neil deGrasse Tyson on you right now.
I just thought so in the episode, basically, should we go in order? Did we want to delve into each episode?
I mean, we're already on Zombies. Let's go into it. Oh no, sorry, not Zombies. Let's go into the Killmonger one because I actually liked it because it was chronologically canon. It worked, and it was an interesting premise. Because if Tony Stark never like saves himself, then he never realizes his company's corrupt. Then he never is forced to become Iron Man because he did that out of necessity so he wouldn't die. And so of course he's going to put all he can do is put his money into what he can support. He doesn't have that technology because he wasn't forced to make it. So that was kind of interesting to see play out. I agree that I feel like the format had to do with a lot of why you were thinking that, Killmonger shouldn't be getting away with it this easily. But again, it's like a 35-minute runtime, so it kind of has to move fast.
Quickly.
Yeah.
A lot of it too, which we mentioned before, for me personally, like just the voice actors and then the voice acting that the actual actors are doing, that also it just seemed weird to me. I don't know, that I'm just like kind of nitpicking on that.
Specifically who?
Michael B. Killmonger, dude. Like he was
it's just spot on.
I don't, it was weird to me. I know it was like spot on, but like it just seemed weird.
The part that I had an issue with was at the end. So it made sense that Eric was there when he was touring during the wars, because he was like a hitman during that time. And he was
he was an actual
a soldier. Yeah, but he was
Oh,
doing like dark ops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he threw a fucking missile. The hell?
So
that part was weird.
It made sense that he was in that area at that time, and he possibly could have been the one that was executing the assault on Tony. So all that made sense. The part that I had an issue with was at the end when Tony's actually confronting him, because like he does all this stuff, he kills Black Panther, he kills Rhodey, and like there's no proof behind it, and Tony thinks he's his man, but like as soon as Rhodey dies, like he has for some reason that information, and he confronts him with it, and his only backup is to upload it to a secret server for someone to find. Like there's no fallback plan other than like,
well, because again, he's not really, I mean, he was still a tech genius before he became Iron Man, but when he became Iron Man, he like started elevating to a whole nother level. That's, I mean, at that point, he's just a billionaire playboy. He's not going to make contingencies on contingencies because he's not in that superhero mindset yet.
But if you knew that he killed your friend and he's like going to get away with all this stuff, like even though he had that robot that they programmed together and he's like, oh, he knows all your moves. Like, okay, he knows all your moves, but then like as a human, you can also adapt and be unpredictable. So like, I don't know. It seemed like a suicide mission with not well thought out, I guess.
Well, neither was him trying to make Vision Ultron,
I guess,
that movie. So I don't know, just short-sighted, I guess. But I don't know. I mean,
that's one of your tops.
Kuya?
Oh, I still like one of my tops is actually the Doctor Strange one, and I also like to Star-Lord still. Those are like my two favorites.
This one I liked, but it wasn't my top.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see where it fit in. I just was like, oh, all right. Like, yeah.
I thought it was creative just because they're in Afghanistan at the same time. And it was an interesting premise to see what would happen if you removed like Tony Stark being kidnapped from the equation. And obviously he wouldn't become Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It would have been more interesting if they kept it more on Tony's development and they didn't kill him off and focus more on Eric Killmonger's development. But I mean, it was still an interesting story. So
I think it was also kind of a shock for me when we see Suri, because you know that it's earlier in the timeline because he didn't become Iron Man, but to see her so little, I'm like, oh man, he like cut off T'Challa like in the prime of his life. Like it was way, way early in the timeline when all this happened.
Yeah, and he killed T'Challa like hella quick, like too quick.
Yeah,
that was another thing that I was like,
That I can get with that, especially if T'Challa had serum or herb in him, because he should be better than Killmonger on paper if he has the heart-shaped herb and the vibranium suit. So I can get with that.
Oh, and then the last thing was the fact that he did end up in his homeland when he took the heart-shaped herb, even though like T'Challa confronted him and was like, oh, you're going to be punished one way or the other. Like it was weird that he wasn't still like in his place in Oakland, because he's like going against what the family is, you know, it's against the heritage and all that stuff, but he's still welcomed in their like afterlife. I don't know.
What was the next episode after that one?
So we completely skipped over the Doctor Strange one. We touched briefly on zombies. I can't remember if we talked about Doctor Strange actually, but that one.
Let's just talk about it real quick. Episode. That one was probably in my top two. Like two, yeah.
That one was really good. It was really heartfelt when he kept trying to go back and like fix it.
So good, dude.
But like, there's like absolutes in the universe that you can't change, and one of them is that what's her face ends up dying.
Christine.
Yeah. Because he either ends up like in the movie where they're not dating anymore, or as we saw in the show, that like they're together, but no matter what he does, she always dies on that night.
She was just getting Final Destination, dude.
Yeah. There's nothing he could do.
She slipped on a peanut, broke her face.
And the only way to stop him was for the Ancient One to like separate his body. So one of them did continue that storyline where he kept like absorbing monsters in order to become more powerful to hopefully like break an absolute point in the timeline. Whereas the other one was like, okay, I've grieved enough. Let's move on with my life. And they eventually face off in the end. And eventually he is successful in breaking the timeline. but it like ends up destroying his whole world. So he's stuck in like a little snow globe universe.
Dude, yeah, that was sick. That was one where it was just like it ended in a bad way, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
But then also like that one, I feel like the emotion like fit the voice acting for me.
Oh,
Maybe
I
the
hear you.
Killmonger one, like maybe he was just too emotionless.
Yeah, he
Like,
was a little
just
laid back.
monotone,
yeah,
He's like a
I get you.
sociopath. Yeah.
I hear you.
Ki-
No,
yeah.
it's not as lively as that. That should fit what the action's going on in the scene. I guess.
Yeah. So that's why I also really liked the Doctor Strange one, was because to me it really fit all the emotions and everything that he was going through, and the fact that he kept going back in time and stuff like that.
He had his crazy ass
that
beard.
was pretty
He was
sick.
just like, "You care so much, don't you?"
Well, so
And it
oh, sorry, go ahead.
it also just shows like how quickly he could turn into like a villain, you know, or just like turn to the dark side, and how easily he could be persuaded because he's so vulnerable and so emotional, and like
He definitely went the
he-
Wanda route.
Yeah.
and like his intentions are good, but you know, as the Sorcerer Supreme, he has to, which is also just part of the flaw of the character slash the hero, is that no matter what, he still can't go back in time to fix everything, which sucks because he's pretty much not gonna be happy. You know what I mean? Like, so there's that aspect of his character slash the superhero part of him.
Yeah. And I already liked this show or this episode when it first aired, but the more that we see the other episodes, I like that it has a few subtle nods to how the finale turns out. So throughout the episodes, we see the Watcher slowly becoming more and more prevalent. Like you can start seeing him before, it'd be like a flash of his face or like maybe a shadow in the background, but he's steadily getting more and more close. And the more powerful that Doctor Strange was getting, he was actually able to have a whole conversation with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, my job is not to interfere, and you did this to yourself. They had that whole discussion at the end. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because it's like the more powerful the being, or more elevated, I guess, from humanity, like he's actually able to directly interact with them. And we see that later in the finale with Ultron.
Yeah, he was just like, who's that woman in the sky?
I am a Watu, a baby. I need my baba.
Let's see. After that one, so that one is in my top, and then so the zombies one. You guys like that one overall? You guys didn't like
But
it?
then
I
the
did.
part 2, and then I don't think there is going to be a part 2 because of how the finale folded that
Yeah.
universe in. So it's like, damn.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
wanted more of that. Don't limit. I feel like that should have been a part 2 or like a 2-parter. That would've
Yeah,
been
I
so
agree. I agree.
The zombie one was that like there was wasn't it some kind of like
dude.
virus or
The
something?
Spider-Man
is in the quantum realm.
the Spider-Man
yeah.
voice actor was phenomenal. I thought that
Yeah.
was Tom Holland, and it wasn't.
I think he voiced Spider-Man in another cartoon or in the game.
It's insane how similar he sounded
It's
to
really
Tom
good.
Holland.
Yeah.
So
It was
the
really good.
the zombie one, that's when basically in Ant-Man 2, when they actually find Hope's mom and they bring her back from the quantum realm, but she's not herself. She's like infected with some kind of virus that's unique to the quantum realm, and it turns her into a zombie-like creature. So like she's not actually like dead and like revived. It's just like her flesh is slowly rotting and she wants to eat brains.
Did you guys ever read the comic?
No.
Oh, damn. That's a really good comic. I hella like that one.
That's
That's
what I
also
heard.
part of the reason why I liked this episode, because I feel like it was pretty accurate. Some of the things that were different, obviously there's more heroes in the comic and there's so much more that you can do, but there are a lot of similarities, I think. But overall, that episode also was really good to me because of the emotion. Like I feel like they captured it.
Definitely.
Especially with like a lot of the sacrifice and stuff, and then just seeing the characters interact with their counterparts, kind of like Bucky and Cap, the whole like this is the end of the line type thing. So they did say like a lot of like callbacks from the movies, and then some from the comic as well, which I really enjoyed.
I think it was also interesting because a lot of the characters that ended up surviving and being kind of like the crew that was like trying to fight the zombies, it was like ones that don't typically interact. Like it was Wasp and Spider-Man, and like you had a few like Spider-Man and Happy who they do have a partnership, but it's like characters you don't see together really, and then you get to see them pull together to try to like resolve everything.
Right.
There's some sexual tension between Spider-Man and Wasp, dude. I'm like, they're flirting over there, dude. Watch it again. They were talking some.
I know.
There's some sexy ass nuances to it.
I did not catch that.
I'm getting hard right now. Jesus. Talking to me like this.
Gross.
But yeah, I really like that episode though.
About to have some insects.
Ew.
Damn it. Son of a bitch. This guy.
I did like that you see the opposite of WandaVision, where it's like Vision is actually the sole survivor instead, but Wanda's still kind of present, so they still have some sort of like relationship going on. And then even when in the finale, when you see Wanda interact with Ultron, she kind of recognizes him too, because for the Ultron storyline, it's like, what if Vision never happened and Ultron just became Ultron? Like,
I want to say that was accurate to the comic. I remember Black Panther was one of the survivors that someone was operating on. I forgot if it was Vision or not, but someone was operating on him. I want to say it might have been Ant-Man, or it might have been Hank Pym or something like that. So a lot of the characters are kind of like reverse, obviously, because they're not in the MCU. So that was different. And then what other stuff happened in there? In the comics, like they eventually Galactus comes, and then
is he a zombie too?
No, he's not. But Silver Surfer comes first, and then somehow a lot of the heroes at this point, they're all zombies. And the thing is that in the cartoon, they're not really present mentally, but in the comic, they know of each other's superpowers. They still communicate to each other.
Oh,
but they're just they're
hungry.
They're smart zombies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually they see, like, they run out of everything else to eat, and so they see Silver Surfer come in, and then they end up eating him, and they all gain the power cosmic. And then at the end, I think at the end there's nothing else in the world, so they go to different worlds and then eat other superheroes and stuff.
They
like
become Galactus.
I thought it was interesting.
Ain't no human teeth biting into Silver Surfer, first of all.
Well, so I was gonna say, I thought it was interesting. So we see at the end of that episode that actually all of Thanos's army and himself are also zombies. So could that also be because one of the people that became a zombie included the Sorcerer Supreme? So like, could they travel using his magic to other planets? Because he was a zombie before he even came to Earth. So I thought that was interesting.
Right. That was cool.
That might have been just a throwaway teaser, I guess.
The ones that
what else?
we have, what if Thor were an only child? What if Ultron won?
Skip.
And then what if the Watcher broke his oath?
Those two were sick.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were.
The Ultron one was hella dope. Is that the one where
Makes me sad that James Spader didn't come back to voice that part, because he has an epic voice for Ultron, but it was still pretty good. Yeah.
So
what happened in that one again?
So that one starts off with Black Widow and with Hawkeye,
yeah,
running some kind of ops, trying to like basically get away from the Ultron drones. So like I said earlier, in the movies, you know how like Vision comes from the Mind Stone and the body that Iron Man was working on, and instead of like, he kicks Vision out, or he kicks Ultron out of his body, and they have like a different kind of fight. This one is he's basically Ultron but in Vision's body. Like, that never happened. He didn't win the fight. And then all of the Iron Man drones take over the world. So it's like a hive mind. All of them are connected to the the main one that looks like Vision. So I think it starts with I forgot what they're trying to get, or if they're just trying to get away to a safe zone. But it's like the only people alive on Earth is pretty much Black Widow and Hawkeye. Because his main objective is to like eliminate human beings from like he just wants quiet. So he wants to eliminate all living things.
Didn't he also? No, he was trying to bring peace to the universe, and the only way to do that is to eliminate all living life, because they create the war. Weren't they trying to look? Were they looking for Arnim Zola at that point, or did that come later?
No, that's after the Watcher steps in.
Okay. I think the next thing that happens is that Thanos comes, and then
that shit was crazy.
Ultron was like interesting. It just slices him up. Like down the middle, and takes the gauntlet, but it puts it in his chest. It looks so much doper like that.
Yeah,
dude, that was pretty sick when that happened.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I was like, wait, could that have happened? Like, if Vision didn't die in Infinity War, do you think he could stand his own against Thanos?
I think it wasn't so much standing his own. It's what, like, when people debate who would win in a comic book fight, there's this term called speed blitzing, and it's like basically if someone has super speed, that's an automatic win because they could just speed blitz like quicker than the blink of an eye.
You react before they have a time to counter.
In that situation, I just feel like Ultron used, like, he doesn't necessarily have super speed, but in the previous like MCU movies, everyone like takes their sweet time. Like, you know, Thor didn't go for the head, he didn't chop off his arm. Doctor Strange could have phased his arm off, like using that
with the gauntlet.
Yeah. So I technically it could happen, I feel like, with the right person, the right powers, but no one did for the sake of the plot. But in this situation, for the sake of the plot, then Ultron's able to slice him in half, which I feel like he could have done, especially since Thanos didn't have all the gems at that point.
Yeah. So he was able to get all the gems, and then I think that's when Black Widow brings them to Russia, because she was like, oh, if anyone knows anything, it's Hydra. So let's just go into an old Hydra base and see if they have anything that can counter whatever he's going to throw at us, because they're basically the only living life forms on the planet left that they know of.
In that warehouse reading mad files, and Uatu's like, come on, you're almost
oh yeah, see, that was hella sick too. I remember that. I remember that episode because
you're gonna interfere anyway, just get in there.
I hella like that scene because basically Uatu is the audience too.
Yeah.
So like we're also like, dude, it's right there. Like, come on, it's right there. And it's just funny because he is also trying to resist, but like he knows he can't interfere. But yeah, that scene was just hella funny to me.
So at the end of that episode, basically Uatu wants them to find a specific file in the Hydra base, and like everything's, like you said, it's all paper and it's like a huge like Costco warehouse. And what they find is Arnim Zola. Remember, like in the Cap movies, he downloads his mind into a computer. So they're able to locate him, and they basically like download him, or they make a deal with him and said, like, if you can like inject a virus into this guy, like we'll set you free or something like that. Like basically like Hydra's gone, no one's alive anymore. Your like goal to advance Hydra doesn't matter because there's no one here. So either you help us or we're going to melt your hard drive, because no other Hydra databases exist anymore. So they download him into one of the like drone Ultron bots, like one of the hive mind, like Iron Man bots, except they shoot off his legs so he can't betray them. So her and I almost said Hawkman. Her and Hawkeye were carrying him through the complex, and they're like, oh, he's too far away. Like, I don't know where Ultron is, but he's too far away from the basically like Queen Bee, like hive mind main.
I like the fact that this silo is the same one where those super soldiers were from Civil War, and the way they go out is the same way that Bucky and Cap were going when Iron Man was chasing them. So that we get like a mirror scene when they're going up through the silo, and then Hawkeye, who doesn't have one arm, I guess in this timeline, he sacrifices himself so that
right.
so that Natasha and Zola can get away, and then they end up shutting it, and then that was the end of the episode. It's just them like going.
Yeah, they're kind of
And
stuck with each other.
And it basically mirrors
Her
Natasha's sacrifice, yeah,
Yeah.
in the movies, which is pretty cool. Little
Yeah.
reverse.
Yeah, I like that.
Did we find out in this episode? I think Zola says like I can't find Ultron.
Yeah, we
He's
find out in
not-
this one.
yeah.
He's like he's not here or something like, and that's when we find out that Ultron has kind of ascended the way that the Sorcerer Supreme ascended in his like evil episode, where he actually is able to see. Well, he travels to all these different universes first, kills everything there too. So everything basically in this galaxy is dead. And then he senses Uatu and he's like, oh my God, like there is something higher than this. And he's able to like break through wherever he's like monitoring them from into that other
That
universe.
was sick.
And then he's
That
able
was
to see like the multiverse. And when they're fighting, he's like punching him into different
That was
multiverses.
so cool.
Dude, that was so sick.
I would love to see that in live action. What that would be like.
Yeah,
was great.
dude, that
That
was
was-
hella sick. I hella like that.
I was
Uatu-
dying though because
Yeah.
it was just it was a robot punching a baby to death. I was just laughing the whole time.
I like how Uatu's like, I don't even know how to describe it, but wherever he's watching the multiverse, it's like all these different mirrors, kind of,
Yeah.
which is basically like in the credits. That's like how he
Yeah.
sees it and stuff. But then so Vision, the
Ultron.
Ultron Vision, he comes in, he like breaks through, and then they have like this Dragon Ball Z like type fight. But like the action scenes were like really good. Like
Yeah.
it was, the choreography in there was super good. I hella liked it.
I thought
So-
Ultron. I thought Uatu was about to catch a body, dude. I was like, oh, you pissed him off.
So I think this is
But
actually
he's kind of weak sauce. Like his power level is not that.
It
So
seemed like
I-
he was getting like up there, and then not as strong as Ultron.
So I think that he was still reluctant. So Ultron breaking into his realm
Oh yeah,
was before he had helped Hawkeye and Natasha find the file or whatever, because he's kind of just monitoring like how things are going. And then when he breaks in, he's able to like lock down his dimension again temporarily. And he's basically like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like we're in trouble now. And then I think that's when he decides to like
Yeah.
start to step in and start to help them. Because even when they're fighting, he was still like reluctant to get involved. But then basically like, if I don't get involved here, then he's going to destroy all of the multiverses.
do you
So-
guys think it was dope, of course, how Ultron got all his powers and stuff like that, but do you think it was kind of weird that like even though he had all the Infinity Stones, that power level still ascended every different reality, every different universe? Like, I guess kind of like how the TVA, I know this is different than the show, but you know, like the TVA, they basically said that the stones in different places are non-existent, you know?
I had questions about that too, especially since like the Infinity Stones are useless in the TVA, and
That's,
somehow
yeah.
somehow Ultron got to their level and higher. My theory is that just because I mean, we were showing it in quick clips, but technically Ultron, I mean, he destroyed all life in the universe. So he must have been alive for like centuries. So at
Yeah.
that point, the stones, like maybe he's gotten stronger with the stones.
Oh,
Because I mean, when Thanos had him, it was only for a few like weeks, months, however long that was. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess the case could be made that since he was wearing the stones for so long, and especially since he killed all life in the universe, that his awareness just it had to travel higher because there's nothing else to sense.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I think also like, cause he was still using the stones to like get stronger, but it's not like Thanos where he used them all up in like one big bang. Like he's kind of like, they're still present on his body. He's still using them constantly. So, and then this brings us into the finale, because we completely skipped over the Thor one since it's irrelevant. But basically really quickly, the Thor one, the biggest piece of relevance is that at the end of the episode, we see Ultron there and it's like, oh, he's really coming for other multiverses and like other universes, like just to destroy anything. And like before he notices Uatu, he's kind of like, finally silence. Like, because just all of the humans, or not humans, but like life forms causing all that chaos was like too much for him. So the last episode, now that Uatu's like fully in the game and fully invested, he just goes from place to place and he's like, you've been chosen, like from different universes, and he picks up our heroes, or in some cases anti-heroes, from the episodes that we've seen previously.
It's like, Rhonda from the TVA, you have been chosen.
I think the only one we didn't see in a previous episode was Gamora.
Gamora, Thanos, yeah.
Yeah. So
that
I'm wondering if they cut that episode, because it looked like it was a fully fleshed episode where it was Gamora and Iron Man and Nidavellir.
From what I heard, it was I think it might have been COVID related that they had an episode and like storyline, and then they didn't have time to, I guess, include it. But they're also going to dive deeper into that in the next season.
okay.
So it'll probably explain how she got
about
that
one.
armor and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we see Gamora like in like basically all the armor that that her father had, but like she's a good guy, like she's helping Iron Man and they're trying to find a way to defeat her father. But he calls the bad Doctor Strange that's stuck in his shadow realm, or not shadow realm, but like his mini like snow globe realm, Captain Carter, Star-Lord T'Challa, Party Thor, and the Black Panther Killmonger. And it's interesting because he takes them all from like key points of what's going on. Like Gamora, she was in Nidavellir and like about to get some badass weapon to fight Thanos. And then like Black Panther Killmonger, he was about to get confronted by Piper and Shuri for like basically betraying all of Wakanda. So it's interesting because it's like such a high point, and he's like, "You've been chosen. Drop your shit and get in the bus." Like,
it's like, I can't fight this guy. I can't do it. Come with me. Puts him in a bar.
That's basically what it was.
Vince called it though. You said that they were going to be assembling all the different Avengers from What If into a team, and then they would fight whoever it would be. But yeah, pretty genius idea. Actually, it makes me hopeful that this is how they handle Kang.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So they end up fighting Ultron in a pretty epic showdown.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how. I kind of vaguely remember how the fight goes.
Go
ahead.
At one point, they somehow end up on the planet, his original planet, where Zola and Black Widow are trying to like download a virus into him, and like Widow kind of starts joining in the fight, and like Captain Carter, I guess, has a relation, like a sisterhood with her Widow, so they bond in this universe also. But at one point they are able to pin him down, and Gamora has something called like the Stone Crusher or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Where she like plants it on his, it's like a jackhammer, she plants it on his chest, or like it's powered by one of the stones, and then
bone saw.
Yeah, it seeks out the other
bone
ones.
Bone saw is ready.
But
you got 2 minutes.
Lead time.
But it seeks out and it destroys the Infinity Stones, and they think like, oh, that was such a tough fight. That's like what we're trying to achieve, and we did it. But then he was like, you forget, like your stones are not the same as my stones, I guess. Like different.
Oh yeah, it like only works on that universe's Infinity Stones. But then also too, it was kind of cool because leading up to that, it mirrors what Infinity War was when they were on that planet, and then all of them were trying to get the gauntlet off of Thanos. So they were all I forgot who came up with the plan, but they were just like, oh, we can't let him even think to do this. So all of them were pretty much were hitting him with all these different things at different times, but it was like boom, 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 boom. And that part was hella sick.
I really like when Thor threw his hammer and then Doctor Strange made it like a whole bunch of hammers. And
yeah.
And he struck it with lightning. That shit was dope. That would have definitely worked on Thanos in the MCU.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I liked all of the Sorcerer Supreme armor. Like he covered
Yeah.
everyone in runes.
Oh, that was sick. That was
Yeah.
sick.
That was definitely hitting L1 in the Avengers game, dude. That was a support attack, dude.
You see them like
Everyone-
fly off.
Sick,
Then
dude.
there was also a point where we talked about this really briefly, but Doctor Strange did this, and then he made all the zombies
That's right.
come.
Yeah.
I think that was earlier in that episode or something.
That
like
was
that.
when they're still on the empty planet before they go to Black Widow's planet.
Yeah, it's like they had plans and contingencies for like if something didn't work and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that I thought that was a pretty cool aspect of. Oh, and also before that, in the bar, before that, they were kind of coming up with their plan. So it was kind of cool to see the different dynamics of how a group of random people would just form together. And then they had like Captain Carter was basically similar to Captain America, where it's like
Assumed the position
she
of
took
leader.
she took charge and everything, and then Doctor Strange played a huge part in all that too. So it was pretty cool. And you can also kind of see there were like hints of Killmonger being Killmonger, where like he kind of agreed with everything, but he had kind of his own agenda,
Yeah, you see
which
him
eventually
fiddling.
plays out.
Yeah, you see him fiddling with one of the Ultron drones, like in the background, and like
Right.
it looks like his armor is like absorbing something. Like somehow he knows how to use that technology.
Yeah.
Oh, possibly because he had worked so long with Tony, and Ultron was basically like a bunch
Maybe.
of Iron Man drones.
Yeah.
So similar technology. But in the end, because they ended up on that Widow's planet, Zola was still in, like they were able to download Zola into Ultron eventually. And he's like, "Ooh, what is this body?" And they're like fighting internally. And eventually he's able to kick out Ultron, I think. And then Killmonger tries to take the gems, but then Zola in Ultron's body also tries to take the gems. And then that's when the big Sorcerer Supreme was able to trap them into like another tiny thing. So basically
he just kind of realized that they weren't supposed to win in a way. The only way of them winning was that how do I explain this?
It's like Killmonger was selfish enough to trap them in that like impasse in long enough for him to trap them. Yeah. Because I was like, why would he bring Killmonger if he's like a known bad guy, but he was relying on his selfishness to pull them through.
So yeah, both of them, Ultron / Arnim and Killmonger are fighting for the stones. It's like hovering between their hands.
Yeah.
And then they're stuck in basically stasis. And then Doctor Strange is tasked with watching them for eternity to make sure neither of them gets it. And then that's where we left off with the finale.
Yeah. So it's like a snow globe in a snow globe.
I really wonder how season 2 is going to kick off. I'm thinking maybe they won't continue it from there. Maybe they'll just like
probably
start
something separate.
Whole new timeline that leads into something else, but eventually revisit it. I don't know. Because how do you build off that? That's just
because the end of the episode, they all end up at the bar, and then each of them kind of go back into their respective timelines, and then Natasha, she doesn't have one to go to, so Uatu puts her in. It looks like the MCU one.
It's the one where Loki decides to stay after the Ant-Man kills everyone. So it's
and they didn't have a Black Widow. She was dead.
Yeah, it's Ms. Marvel, Cap, and Nick Fury, I think, are the only ones alive. So he places her where like they don't have a widow. And even Nick Fury was like, "You're not my widow." And she was like, "I'm not," but like they still fight together anyway.
Yeah.
So they're basically fighting Loki's people in that one.
And then there was an end credit scene where Captain Carter someone's like, "Oh, we found something," or something, right? And then
it's a Hydra Stomper.
Yeah, it was a Hydra Stomper, and then Steve was up in there.
Well, they said someone's in it, but they didn't reveal who was.
It was Steve. It showed him.
Oh, it showed him?
Yeah.
I didn't think it showed him.
Who was the one who came to her with the news? Who was that?
It was Widow, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It was her widow. Yeah. Because basically they get put back into their timelines exactly where they left it. So when he plucked up Captain Carter was basically at the start of the Cap movie where they're doing that takedown of the ship. So that's when they find him like in the bowels of the ship. I thought that it just showed the Hydra Stomper, and then she was like,
Oh, maybe
Steve, but it didn't actually show him. But I was like, that doesn't make sense if he's alive unless they experimented on him with the serum.
I don't even remember what happened
I
to
could have
him.
swore it was, but maybe I'm just imagining.
I think it just showed
Yeah.
her face, and she was like, Steve, but you didn't actually see those.
You might be right.
Yeah.
So that pretty much recaps What If. Overall, I liked it. I liked that they had some of the OG actors. I thought that was really cool for them to continue. Some things that didn't work for me was like sometimes the acting didn't fit the voices, or the animation didn't fit the voice acting. On some of them it worked for me, but overall I think it was a cool little break from the live action Disney shows. So I enjoyed it.
It was a break from Marvel cartoons not sucking.
I
mean,
That's true.
that's actually not fair, because I've heard good things about Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like the Avengers cartoon. I can't really get with the animation, but as far as their animated movie side, like the Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2, pretty lackluster. And
Well,
then
it's like-
all their other movies.
you can't have both. It's like DC's animated is so good, but their like
Mhm.
live action is like
Yeah, it's cool to
Yeah.
see like a cartoon, especially on their Disney Plus platform, where like that's like their premier content, and for it to perform well. I mean,
it was cool having something week to week, especially with the news that they pushed back a lot of releases on movies, like by a lot. And I think as far as today, they might have dropped 2 titles, but they didn't even say what titles those are. But I think, yeah, they dropped like 2 movies from production of any kind.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was good. I still have to see Shang-Chi.
Yeah, me too.
and then
Oh, dude.
and then we get Eternals pretty soon. So
I think Eternals is in 2 weeks.
yeah.
dude, I'm not gonna be
Um,
able to see. I'm fuck. I'm just gonna get a bootleg of Shang-Chi. Fuck it. See me.
And I think they pushed back Shang-Chi's release on Disney,
Yeah.
right?
So their original release was like a week or 2 ago, but then since it's doing so well in theaters, they pushed it back till November.
November
Dude,
what though? Does it
support
come
I
out
think
man.
before
it's the 12th.
the
Support
12th?
them, dude.
And then
go,
when does
go in theaters.
when does Eternals come out?
That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So
Dude,
Eternals
just
comes
go
out
go
before
back to back.
Shang-Chi.
Like
I'm not trying to support the Delta variant, bro.
just
So-
go on a weekday when there's like no one there, and then
I'm
just
just gonna
go
like I'm just gonna hold my breath the whole time at the movies.
No, you just need to bring one of those divers like
Just be like, God, that was a good movie.
So
Damn.
Eternals
Dang, you
comes
guys gotta
out
watch that.
first, and then Shang-Chi comes out on Disney Plus.
I'm gonna be
I think a
delayed
week
on the movie
after.
side. I'm gonna be delayed on the movie side, but current with everything that comes out on Disney Plus and wherever else. So
Yeah,
all right. But damn, you gotta watch that.
I know. I'm bummed that we haven't been able to see it yet, but we all have.
It's cool.
different
And the soundtrack is hella good
circumstances.
too. I like the soundtrack.
Yeah. Okay, so on the flip side, going on to DC.
DC, dude, they're coming out with some stuff.
Yeah.
did
Their-
you? Yeah,
Their
did
fandom
you-
was pretty. I mean, I didn't see it this time. I saw it the first time they did the DC fandom.
Oh, didn't you? You don't watch
um,
any of the stuff? from
Not this time.
Pretty dope.
But I watched the very first DC fandom. I was actually like watching it, like I was streaming it.
Oh, okay, in real time.
But yeah, in real time. But this one I just watched the trailers. So they released a few trailers, like a lot actually. So like they released the Teen Titans, Young Justice. And I think they already released a couple episodes, right, Matt?
There was 2 episodes as of like the 18th, which I already watched. There were new ones added, or maybe just one more added on the 21st, which was yesterday.
Nice.
So I'm gonna
Okay.
try to catch up on that, and we can talk about that next episode too, if you guys want.
Nice.
Oh,
I still got to get that HBO though.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't,
those
I
are
didn't watch it on HBO.
Yeah.
We're never gonna get sponsored.
We're gonna get sponsored by the pirate sites, dude.
Sponsored by the police.
So they have. Oh, go ahead.
So those are available to watch on HBO Max. A lot of their animated movies like Injustice are available for pay on Amazon Prime. So for people out there that want to watch.
I gotta say the
Yeah.
DC fandom got me most hyped for the video games because we got
Yeah. So they released a trailer for not Birds of Prey. What is it?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Kills
Squad.
the Justice League. That one's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
And then Gotham Knights, which I'm super fucking.
Gotham Knights. Yeah, that one looks sick. Also because I like that storyline.
You know what? I'm gonna commit to reading Court of Owls. You have that, right? Or did you give that to me? I hope you didn't give it to me.
I think
I don't
did
remember,
have
to be honest.
that?
I do have it, but I don't know if I literally have it.
All right,
with me.
okay. I'll just buy the ebook version because I definitely want to dive into that before I play the game.
Yeah,
I
that
will
one's
double
cool.
check. I'll double check if I have it because I know that I read that too.
That's one of my top like Batman comics. The premise is going to be Court of Owls. And then what else did they do? They released like a trailer for like a kind of a sneak peek trailer for Black Adam. It wasn't like a full-on trailer.
I watched that. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, you can't go wrong with The Rock.
I guess he's supposed to fight the Justice Society.
Yeah, so
Dope.
it takes place like in those times. Like, so you're not going to see any of like Superman, Batman. It's
like the
are
1950s.
they considered the golden age?
I think
Like Justice Society.
I think that's Silver Age.
Silver, because that's before. I
okay.
think Golden Age is like Superman. and them,
Superman.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Superman with the cheesy designs is the Golden Age.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they're like Hawkman is gonna
Yeah.
be in there. There's like a lot of other people that I haven't really heard of before.
The only one I know of is Hawkman, and that's just because like there's been different iterations through the comics, but I also know that actor from other projects.
I think Dr.
So-
Fate's in Justice Society also.
Oh, okay.
yeah. They got freaking Pierce Brosnan.
He's gonna be Dr.
He's
Fate.
Fate?
Yeah.
I can
Wait,
see
you
that.
guys didn't know that?
No,
didn't
I don't
know
even know who's
that.
Dr.
Oh,
Fate. I don't know
Yeah,
anything about
yeah.
the DC universe.
Oh, that's exciting. I
So
think
he's
as
Dr.
long as he
Fate.
doesn't sing, he'll be fine.
He's gonna turn
Double O
into
Fate, dude.
do magic.
Yeah, dude. Double O Fate.
Double O Fate, dude.
Oh, that's a good casting. I feel like that, yeah, that'll work. They made they poked fun at his singing in the sequel to Mamma Mia. So
Oh.
it was not good in Mamma Mia 1.
So they had that trailer. They also had a little bit of the Flash trailer.
I watched that one too. The one with Michael Keaton in there, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's
There's
really-
things that like I'm excited about, and that the actor just doesn't really do it for me.
Me neither. I don't like.
I think that was bad casting and
horribly miscast. I like the new suit though. That shit looks fucking clean. With like,
it's
the
very
lines.
injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that it's a suit and not armor. It's that
Yeah.
Justice League design was horrendous.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know, some of the face mask part I didn't really like.
Definitely
but
if they
the
went
suit
Gambit.
itself.
if they went classic Flash, it would be infinitely better. But I like the change that they made to the Justice League suit. That one just like looked like so bulky to run in. Like that is not a runner's suit.
Right.
Did you
Yeah.
guys already talk about the Battinson movie? Didn't they have another trailer?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But-
that shit looks fucking fire, dude. Oh
But
my
before
god.
we go into that one, did you guys like kind of notice some of the things that they showed in the Flash? Like they saw at one point there was 2 Ezra Millers.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw an Easter egg that they pointed out, and it was basically the other Ezra Miller suit is a bat suit painted over with the Flash symbol and stuff.
Ooh.
So it's like, what? How is that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think there was a girl Flash too. So yeah, I'm
Wow,
excited
she's
for that
just-
one.
She's just running around showing her tits to everybody.
Hey, excuse you.
Stupid. Oh my god, I just got that.
The Flash, bro.
Flash. God.
The guys are down.
Gross.
So yeah,
Gross.
we'll eventually see Michael Keaton reprise his role. And yeah, so that one seems pretty cool. And then moving on to the real trailer, the Battinson.
Dude, that shit looks fucking fire. It looks like 7. I'm so hyped, dude.
It
Yeah,
kind of gave off that
it looks
vibe
fucking dope.
in the first trailer. It kind of gave off that vibe because it's like you knew
Yeah.
that it's gonna be like kind of a murder mystery and all that stuff. but-
And in one of the shots on the screen when the Joker, I just call him the Joker because he was streaming, the Riddler, streaming and they call him a serial killer. So it definitely has Seven vibes because he's not just
Yeah.
like a menace. He's not just like a nuisance. He's
Wow.
actually out here killing people.
Yeah.
I got the same like vibes as Ledger Joker, like because he live
yeah.
streams and he also leaves like, I mean, Joker was doing riddles in The Dark Knight. So,
Yeah.
but this one like Paul Dano is a really great actor. So I'm excited to see what he does with the character.
I don't remember what he's in. What else has he done?
He was in The Girl Next Door. He's Klitzy, the dude with the big dick.
No way. That's him.
That's him. You'll see it too
Oh.
if you look at him. He was in There Will Be Blood. And he was in Little Miss Sunshine. He was the dude who wasn't talking. He was like taking a vow of silence.
He just looks like a guy who's into riddles in real life.
He's
there with like a crossword puzzle.
He does. He looks
Yeah.
like a quiet like loner. So like he fits it like visually, but then he's a good actor.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice show.
But I think overall the movie's gonna be really good too. Like I think Robert Pattinson is like a underrated like actor. Like I feel like he has really good stuff. It's just people just know him as the Twilight guy, but like his other movies I've heard are like also really good acting wise.
I haven't watched Twilight. I was gonna watch The Lighthouse, but then I couldn't. Just like I heard it was a slow burn, but apparently he really showcases acting in there.
He was also in a movie with Tom Holland that was on Netflix. His part was very brief though. It was good, but it was like he was like a preacher. But it was, I don't remember the name of that movie, but
He played a preacher with Tom Holland.
Yeah, that was in a Netflix
Tom
movie.
Holland was like from a small town, and then he was a traveling preacher, and then like there's a bunch of murder that happens. The movie overall, it was okay, but he was pretty scary as that like kind of crazy preacher man. Oh, it's called is it Devil All
I thought that was yeah, it has something to do with like
Yeah.
Okay.
it was a Netflix movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
that
Yeah, I
came
haven't
out
seen.
like early this year or maybe late last
But yeah, I think I like his suit too.
Suit's dope, definitely.
The cowl looks different, but I like it.
I like the collar part of it. I always thought like the Batman
Yeah.
suits looked funny because like when you turn the neck, it like wrinkles and it
Yeah.
definitely looks like rubber. The Dark Knight was kind of better because it was the helmet part was
Was like-
detachable,
Yeah.
but like there's too many like segmented armor parts for me. So I don't know. This one is like a good combination between streamlined and like one suit. So like yeah, I like it. It looks dope.
Yeah. I hope it lives up to the hype. I'm excited.
It's
And I
like
think-
fully bulletproof. He was taking on like full
Dude,
auto
that was sick.
gunfire. And a lot of the scenes reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises because remember when he's in the cave and he's like they're shooting
Yeah.
the bullets and it lights up the
Mhm.
scene. That
Mhm.
part reminded me of the scene in the trailer where he's getting shot by the machine gun. And then when he's in the club again, like in The Dark Knight, when he's like punching, like damn,
Yeah.
stays partying.
And then I think what's her name? Is it Zoe Kravitz?
Zoe Kravitz, yeah.
Yeah, I think she fits the role kind of, and like the theme of Batman, you know, like it just seems like that's gonna be her kind of, I don't want to say breakout role, but you know, she hasn't really been in like something that really big. So I think this
Well, I mean, she
Is
was
kind of
in
the breakout role.
X-Men First Class.
she was.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
she was Angel, the one who spits acid.
Oh, okay. But like she wasn't like a main.
A highlight
like-
role.
Definitely not
Yeah.
Catwoman status now.
Yeah. So that yeah. So this is kind of her big break then, I would say.
And then Jeffrey Wright, the Watcher, as Jim Gordon.
He's in there.
Yeah.
Did you guys recognize Colin Farrell?
No, I still don't. I don't think he does.
Yeah, he doesn't either.
He wakes up, looks in the mirror, and goes, "Oh fucking shite! The fuck are you?"
So he apparently is also
That's the face that was in SWAT, dude. That's a pretty boy. That's the penguin. God damn,
yeah, right.
that dude fully committed to being ugly.
He's still in phone booth. He's still there.
He never escaped.
I need sardines. Sardines.
So from what I heard, he's not gonna be in it as much. Like
Okay.
he's kind of like, I don't know, like
That dude
kind
got
of
fat for nothing.
background.
Fat and ugly for nothing.
not so much for nothing, because I heard that he's also in talks to have his own show on HBO
Show.
Max.
Interesting.
So it's
Interesting.
I
Penguin
guess this
show.
is kind of the lead off to his character in a way.
Hopefully it's better than the
DC
lead
is so
off from.
fucking weird, dude. Like a Peace Walker show.
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
penguin-
just
like,
about
who the
to
fuck
say.
is asking for this?
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
was about to
Peacemaker,
say.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, hopefully
Peacemaker.
it makes more sense than the Peacemaker one because that was so
Mhm.
weird at
Like,
the end
who
of
asked
that
for a
movie.
Peacemaker show? Who's
Yeah.
asking for Gotham? The show on Fox was basically a penguin show, like the first season.
Gotham was an awful show.
It was.
You know, they're for HBO Max shows, I think they're also doing a I don't want to say, God, what's his name? I think they're doing a Gordon show.
Is
I
it a
think.
spin-off
It's
of
basically
Gotham?
Gotham.
Because
I
Gotham's
think.
basically about
Yeah.
Gordon anyway, because it's young Jim,
all about-
right?
It's something like that. Like they have like different spin-offs on HBO
Ugh.
Max.
Yikes.
Yeah.
We tried giving Teen Titans or Titans a watch, but it was not very good.
I actually heard that was pretty good. I
very
mean, they keep
CW.
coming out with different seasons.
We got to like partway
So does
through
Gotham.
season 2, and we're like, the storyline's meh. And then all that stuff was the stuff about Batwoman, was that from Titans or was that from a different show?
That was from actual Batwoman show.
Batwoman, yeah.
Oh,
She
the
has her own
Batwoman show, yeah.
I just feel
Yeah.
like everyone who watches those shows is like, there's a lot of dishwashers that need to watch something in the background. I feel like that's the
My old boss was like, "Oh, you like comics?" When I first started working for him, he's like, "Yeah, I really love Gotham." I was like, "I need to quit. I need to find a new job."
But yeah, so what else? So yeah, there's that one. There's a Peacemaker trailer, kind of.
I didn't even bother
Um,
watching that.
Yeah.
I think there was one.
I didn't even like. I mean, John Cena's character was funny, but like him holding up his own show, like I don't. Not interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I think he's kind of like The Rock, where he's just very charismatic and he's very funny. And I think he has a following, so like I think the show, it might not be good, but I feel like it's still going to be successful. Like
He
they
def-
might even have like another.
That is DC's niche, making
Yeah.
successful, not good stuff.
I was gonna say he definitely as an actor has a following, but as a character, there's not enough to carry a whole show. Like
Right,
who wants
right,
to
right.
watch him, like that character? I don't know.
Well, the DC extended universe has kind of been that way, where it's like, never mind about the characters. Let's put people
Highlight these actors.
who the audience wants to see.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
let's give the director of End of Watch a movie to do because he's the director.
It's
of
just
End of
not
Watch.
compelling.
Yeah,
Like
it's not compelling.
I get it. I get it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's pretty much the main things that were talked about in DC fandom. You guys want to get into Injustice?
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah. So just right away, I read Injustice, and like I watched the cutscenes like a long time ago. So like if you guys have questions, I might not be able to answer them.
It's okay.
Off the
Yeah.
I
bat,
think
can you say like how faithful was it?
that's what I was gonna ask. That's the biggest thing we need from you is like where it differs from the source material.
So a lot of it,
Because I saw
Actually differs-
Superman punching, but he wasn't pressing X, so I'm like, dude, that's definitely not faithful to the game.
it's kind of weird. There were some. It's like 60-40, 40% of accurate, and then 60% of it was there was a lot that was different. And I mean, I get that you can only do so much, but then I feel like it basically is like an Elseworlds kind of story.
Yeah.
But they also made it an Elseworld story from the original story.
Yeah.
Like they changed a lot of key
Oh, I
things.
see. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. There's
So it's like,
there's
why
some-
why would you, since it's already Elseworld, why would you make it another Elseworld of that? You know what I mean?
Right. In the game, I thought that there was a little bit of time travel, but I couldn't remember if I was remembering that correctly. And then I'm not as familiar with the comic. I'm mostly familiar with the video game.
Yeah.
So I know that if it is what I'm thinking, then that whole part about time travel was cut out from the end. And I feel like part of that is probably because they wanted to just encapsulate the storyline in one sitting, whereas the games I think are still ongoing. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
either they're on the third game or the third game's going to be released next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The game, I believe the game came out first and then
Yeah.
followed the comic and then the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, one of the games might have like sandwiched the comics, so they just made an ending maybe.
Yeah, but the comics, I recommend the comics. The comics are hella good.
Yeah, I think you
I
gave
really
me the
liked
first
them.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
they're really good, and I also get why they wanted to include so much, but it also sucked because they included a lot of things from different comics into one kind of hour and a half movie, and so a lot of things didn't make sense, and it just flowed really weird.
Yeah.
And
This was definitely self-contained.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, usually, well, not usually, but the cartoon movies from the DCAU, they do tend to put after credit scenes if there's something coming up in the future, but they didn't do that here. So I'm guessing that this is a self-contained story and they're not going to revisit it with a part 2.
Yeah.
and
So
I don't know if they should, because for the most part, a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, dude,
From
two
what
and a
I've
half
seen.
stars. Jesus.
Yeah.
well, and then so some of the parts that I remember from the video
Even
games,
the Wolverine, like even Wolverine Origins got more than 2.5 stars.
some parts from the video game, I know that they chopped off because like a lot of characters, we'll get into it, but a lot of characters kind of leave the storyline rather early instead of exploring it more in the video game or in the plot of the comic. So we'll get into that. So jumping right in, we get into like, I think it's a shot of Clark sitting up in bed and it's kind of like a Daredevil shot where he's like hearing all these noises in the city and he narrows it down to a heartbeat, but it's not his heartbeat like Daredevil does in like the movie, but it's Lois's. And then he notices that there's 2 heartbeats. So he's like, oh my God, he wakes her up and is like, oh, we're pregnant.
There's a killer under the bed.
So they're pregnant and he's really happy about it. And then one of the sounds that he filtered out is like, Batman's here, kill him. And it's like, Batman's in Metropolis. So he goes to help him. And it turns out that Batman is in Metropolis just to track down the Joker that broke out. He was like, I'll be gone as soon as I capture the Joker. You can have your city back. And then he deduces that they're pregnant because he was like, I have something to tell you. So
sorry, I got to get this off my chest before you go any further. This is probably the worst cast of voice actors I've seen.
I will say the voice actors got better, a little bit better towards the end. In the very beginning, when he was like, we're pregnant and the child has to go to Oxford, and like that whole voice part of Clark was so bad.
Do you know who played?
They got some like actual.
It was Justin
popular
Hartley.
actors.
Justin Hartley was the Oliver Queen Green Arrow in Smallville.
He did, yeah. I was like, I know that he's a good voice actor, but that beginning part, I guess, because it's not like the gruff emotional part that we see at the end. But he was like, "Oh, we're pregnant, and I want him to go to Smallville." Like it sounded very hammy.
I don't know.
I was like, I already can't get into this.
I don't know who played Batman. The voice actress who played Lois did Black Widow's voice in the Avengers game.
Okay.
Joker was Kevin Pollak, the actor, and I didn't really like what he did with it.
It sounded very it sounded like his accent.
It sounded Irish at one point.
Yeah, it sounded Irish.
Kevin Pollak's not. He's American.
Oh no, I mean,
know
like,
who that
there
is,
wasn't there was an accent.
Oh yeah, he sounded Irish in some parts, and I didn't really like what he did with it.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that he could even do that intonation. So that was kind of surprising to me. I didn't note any other famous actors besides who did the Flash, and Mirror Master is the voice actor of Spider-Man on the PS4 game.
The guy who did Joker, I think he also did Pa Kent.
Yeah.
Janet Varney, she's she did Wonder Woman. She also did Avatar: Legend of Korra.
I thought that sounded familiar.
That's how I recognized her.
Oh, okay, good stuff.
Yeah,
those are the only voice actors I recognized. Sorry, I interrupted you.
It's okay. So Batman's tracking down Joker, and then you find out that he also broke into some kind of lab that was experimenting on kryptonite, even though it's like a small dose of kryptonite. And they're like, oh, we're trying to see if it'll cure cancer. We're not monsters. We're not trying to take down Superman. Meanwhile, Superman finds out that while on a news sting, Lois is kidnapped and Jimmy Olsen is killed. And we see that people who did it was Joker and Harley, because she's like, I have a bad feeling about this. And Jimmy's like looking through his camera. He's like, one more. And then he looks and he sees the gun and he gets shot through the lens of his camera.
That was pretty dope.
So Superman finds Jimmy's body, and then the whole time he's trying to track down Lois. So he finds Batman in the lab after they find out that like the kryptonite is gone. And he's like, Lois is missing. Can you help me find her? And he does like an SOS to all of the available Justice League members. And you see like the ones who are close, who like know each other's like identities, are like, oh, we're trying to see one woman, and then he's like, oh, it's one of ours, it's Lois Lane. Like Diana knows who Lois is, but maybe some of the other Justice League is like the reporter. Like so they all try to find her, and then the Flash is searching on foot while Superman's searching in the sky, and he finds like a recording of Joker laughing, and it turns out that they had killed Scarecrow in order to take his serum, and then they implant the serum on him and he gets beheaded. Like he's stuck in his horror like nightmare, and then a blade comes
I thought
out
that
and,
was
like,
dumb because I've seen in the comics where like Flash will run and then he'll be in
That was
gas,
dumb.
but then he goes like he vibrates, so he's intangible, so it doesn't
that's
affect
what
him.
I thought. I was like, if he just
That was-
runs it off or like gets it out of his system,
Or, like,
like
does whirlwind arms? Come on.
yeah,
That
he saw
was
the
one of
smoke
the-
creep in.
That was one of the first things when I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what is
Yeah.
this, dude?
Then he
That-
catches a
that-
saw to the face. I'm like, okay. And no
Dude,
one
yeah.
talks Flash. I mean, I get it. It's all about Lois, but no one even mentions Flash dies.
I know, no one
Yeah.
said anything.
And the Flash is he doesn't die like in the comics. So
Yeah.
like he plays a pretty big role in the war with Batman and Superman. So
Yeah.
like the way that they killed him off and how they did it, like so like early in the movie, like that was
A lot of the
That was
key
a hell of a
players,
bad.
yeah, a lot of the key players in the comics are not present. So they killed off Flash early. And we'll find like Black Canary's nowhere to be seen. And she led a pretty big role, I think, in the games as well.
she did, yeah. So she was a big role, and she wasn't even in the movie, right?
No, she wasn't there at
No,
all.
she
She wasn't
wasn't in the
even in the
movie.
background.
Yeah. And then yeah, Flash was
She doesn't even go
He-
here.
Flash was a pretty big soldier on Superman's side in the
On
comics.
on Superman's side, how do they
Yeah.
not wipe out everybody, dude?
On
That's
the comics and
I
in
know,
the game,
right?
yeah.
Catching bodies. And then Black Canary leads the insurgents while Batman
She's
is
on
injured.
Batman's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one point, like she's leading the team against Superman. So it's interesting. They took out the two like heavy hitters for either side pretty early in
Yeah.
the movie. Getting back to the plot, they finally find out, Diana finds out that Joker took a submarine. And so they're escaping, and Superman finds the submarine, lifts it out of the water. And when he breaks through, there is some Scarecrow serum, but he's previously immune. And then when he finds them, like for some reason it starts affecting him, and he thinks that he's fighting Doomsday. So he was like, you're not going to hurt anyone, and flies Doomsday up into the sky. That's when Batman gets through to him. It's like, whatever you're seeing, it's not real. And it turns out that Doomsday is actually Lois, and they perform surgery on her where there's something linked to her heart with kryptonite on it. So the kryptonite made him weak enough that he was susceptible to the gas.
No, that's not it at all. He
Oh,
was
I
already
thought that's what it
susceptible-
was.
The kryptonite was bound to the Scarecrow toxin, so that it was
Oh,
effective
okay.
on him. But
there was a
beeping
shard.
it was a bomb that was linked to her heart, so that when it stops beating, it blows up Metropolis.
Yeah, no, I was getting to that, but there was also a shard of kryptonite on the
No, I
ticker
think it was
on
just-
her heart.
I think it was just green for effect.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, so as soon as Lois stops, her heart starts beating. The submarine had a nuke, and he took one of them and planted it in Metropolis. So all of Metropolis, including Lois and their baby, is dead. And
That
like,
part
well,
was all accurate, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah.
And then so Batman takes Joker back to Arkham, and he's like, why did you do this? It's always been you and me. Like, why would you take stuff from him? And he's like, I thought I'd play our conflict on easy mode, and just try to like shake things up, I guess. And he fully expected what was going to happen next, where like he basically turns the most like the one who's the most like Mr. Morality on the Justice League into the bad guy. So Superman is on his way to
Just
find
did a
him.
Harvey Dent on Superman, dude.
Yeah, basically. So Superman's on his way to confront him. Green Lantern tries to stop him. They have their whole confrontation. He eventually gets to Arkham and he's like, don't do something you're gonna regret. And basically like, he's like, I already have, because he blames himself for killing Lois by sending her into space. And he punches a hole through Joker's chest in front of Batman, while Batman is like,
accurate.
you're not gonna win and all that stuff. So following this, there's a new world order and Diana's completely on his side because she's like, you men, like there's no way to create peace the way that we've been doing it. We need to just like lock up all the bad guys. So they're focusing first on all the governments, making the nuclear governments like North Korea and stuff like that, making everyone just like forcing them to give up all their weapons. It's pointed out to Superman later on in the movie that's like, there's other things that are killing people, like cigarettes kill people. I think it's by Mr. Terrific. It's like, if you want to like save people, like make all the people who are smoking, like lock them up so they can't smoke, so you're saving all their lives. And then you can stop people from not recycling so that you can stop the climate crisis and all that stuff. It's not just about guns and violence, but that's mostly what Superman is focusing on, is all of the weapons in the world. And basically they have this whole fight within the Justice League, and Aquaman, all the magic users as voiced by Shazam, and the Green Lantern Corps were like, this is too much for us, like we're just gonna peace out, like you guys fight what you want to fight. And that's part of what was in the source material that is missing. I thought that Aquaman chose a side. I didn't know, like he didn't just like leave to his home and like barricade them against men.
I want to say that the stance he took was he didn't want to do with anything, so he was trying to be neutral, but then I think he goes up against Aquaman, and then Aquaman goes up against Superman, and then I think he dies.
Okay.
And then Green Lantern is on Superman's side. Yeah.
So in the movie, they're being called back to Oa, so they're being like taken away. Aquaman was like, you guys are ridiculous, I'm just gonna go back to the ocean. And then Shazam was like, this is making all the magic users uncomfortable, so we're tapping out too. And Batman and Superman kind of just let them, like they don't force them to choose a side. They're just in conflict with each other.
Shazam was on Superman's side too.
Okay, yeah.
Doomsday was with Batman. He's like, I don't agree with this.
But all of the world leaders are kind of getting panicked, and they're like, they can't do this, like they can't instantiate, like basically Superman's saying like, it doesn't matter your country or like your race or whatever God you believe in, if you create violence, then we will inflict violence upon you, is what they're going through. And one of the governments, we find out later that it's the US, hires Mirror Man to kidnap
Mirror Master.
Huh?
Mirror Master.
Oh,
Or is it
Mirror
Mirror
Master,
Man?
sorry. Mirror Master to kidnap Pa Kent from his farm. So Jonathan Kent is being held. I forgot the location, but it was like that area where it's
Fortress
just
of
endless
Solitude?
sky. No, like you know how like the sea perfectly reflects the sky. So that's where he's being trapped by Mirror Master. And they find out all that because Diana leads the charge of like, let us help you as you've helped us so many times. And like, they basically like go to a bar where all the bad guys hang out, and then like Raven makes him step out of the mirror, and like they find out where he's being held.
I don't remember if Mirror Master played that big of a role in the comic, and there's some other parts too where like I don't think they were heavily focused on the comic. I think they changed that just for the movie.
Yeah, and the whole point of it was like, we kidnapped your father, and unless you stop interfering with all the governments and like stop telling us what to do, we're gonna kill him and send him to you in a box, like basically
In pieces, yeah.
in pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, Superman eventually rescues his father by using Mirror Master's belt. He goes to the Batcave and is like, my father was missing. You couldn't even help me find him. He's like, I was helping you because he was able to figure out that it was the president that did it. But he was like helping in his own way. He wasn't present when they were beating up the bad guys for information. And Superman tells him like, I'm gonna make an announcement to Gotham, you should be by my side. And he's like, no, this is like, you're going too far. And Damian like completely agrees with Superman's side, and he like was like, finally someone's taking initiative and doing something, you know. But Batman and Nightwing don't agree, so they're already working on ways to like, not to hurt Superman, but just to like beat sense into him, because they're like, you're grieving, you lost your wife and your son, like you need to stop all of this violence because like you've already killed so many people, even if they are bad guys. Because in the argument with the Justice League, Plastic Man is even saying like, I was a bad guy, I had to mess up 2, 3, 4 times, and now I'm a good guy. Like, how many chances are you going to give bad guys? And it was like, they don't get a chance. Like, they're immediately terminated if they break the law. So that goes into Arkham Asylum, and this is where we catch the most bodies in the movie. Basically, Superman is saying like, we are taking all of the most dangerous villains, and we're going to keep them in basically their version of the raft, but it doesn't like go up and down. It's just like a prison under the sea.
I went to the Phantom Zone.
But they're going through Arkham, and they're having cyborg boom tube people into their prison. And Batman's like, stop this, like you can't just take them. And even one of the psychiatrists are like, we're making a breakthrough with one of the patients, you can't take him because he's so close to being I almost said renovated, but like
look at his arms, they've been redone.
It's a nice wood. But he's like he's close to becoming a good guy, or like not being so evil. They don't specify who the patient is, but the psychiatrist is like, we're doing the work to like help them get their lives back, and you can't just take these people and lock them up forever. So while in Arkham Asylum, that's when Batman and Nightwing appear, and they're like, you can't do this, we're going to stop you. And then they're like, they're exactly where you said they'd be. And you find out that Damian like ratted on them, that they're going to try to stop them. And then Harley, meanwhile, this whole time, Green Arrow captures Harley for her own safety. And it's like, if Superman finds you, he's going to kill you because you were involved in all that stuff to kill Lois. So she decides that she's going to be hero Harley, and tries to help in her own way. So while Green Arrow is on his way to meet up with Batman and Nightwing to knock some sense into Superman, Harley sneaks into his car with him. And she was like, I'm a hero now, I'm going to help you. And she releases all of the prisoners. So there's this whole showdown between the two groups of good guys and then all the prisoners in Arkham Asylum. And during this fight, they kill Killer Croc, Clayface, Solomon Grundy. I forget who else. But
how are you gonna kill How are you gonna kill Nightwing with a blow to the temple, dude?
Oh yeah, I was going into that. That's in the comic.
That's
Really?
in the comic.
Yeah, that's canon.
Like,
but I think
I'm pretty sure I seen
was...
him get beat in the face with like a lead pipe from Two-Face, and he was...
I think isn't it in the source material? Like Damian like either throws something to make him lose his footing or something, and he falls, and that's how he snaps his neck.
Yeah, so he gets hit in the temple, and then so they're fighting, and then he gets hit in the temple, I think, and then that's when he like
falls on
also I think he trips, and then he breaks his neck on like a little ledge.
Yeah. So basically,
he did a fuck. What's the name of that movie again? The one with Leslie Nielsen.
Naked Gun?
Naked Gun.
He did a Naked Gun. He was just falling on paint. Hot stove.
So basically, throughout this whole confrontation, like they're taking it to the next level with like straight up starting to kill some of the bad guys, or like brutally beating them. And Nightwing tells Damian as Robin, like Robin doesn't hurt them once they're in the fetal position. And he was like, oh, like, you're not Robin anymore, shut up. And he like throws his baton at him, and that's what we're talking about. He hits him at a critical part, breaks his neck, and then he kills Nightwing.
He hit him in the temple, dude. That's it. Then he dies.
In the
comic.
animated, I think he hit him in the neck, and
he hit him in the
or
temple.
something.
No, it was just in the temple
Okay.
in the movie,
Okay.
which was also lame too, because
Yeah. I remember in the source material, he like knocked him out, and then he fell on something that broke his neck.
Threw that shit at light speed, I guess.
But the whole time,
Yeah.
Damien is like, I didn't mean it. He always catches it. He always knows to catch it. Why didn't he catch it this time? And he even tries to tell Bruce, like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't mean it. And he's like, get away from him. And I think that's in the source material too. Like, he doesn't hear anything that Damien has to say because he's so distraught of Dick's death.
Yeah, in the comic, he's pretty much like Dick is his son. You know, like he doesn't really care for Damien really. And then even after this whole thing, for like the majority of like all of the comic, he just like disowns Damien.
Yeah. There was one part I wanted to call out because it was funny, where it's like, I don't even know who that guy is, and it's just Calendar Man, and he's like, oh. It's like all the dates on his forehead.
But that fight scene was pretty cool because there's a lot of action, and then Superman like kills a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool scene.
Does Nightwing become Deadman in the comics or video games?
I think he does, but like way later.
Yeah.
It's
like
called
they
Deadwing, but like he becomes
that part was weird.
Yeah.
And like I don't think they focused that much on how he became Deadwing, like with that one lady.
That Asian,
so that part
that
threw me
Indian
off.
god.
That
part was kind of.
So after Nightwing died accidentally, Superman kind of like goes ham and makes everyone go back to their cells, and it kind of calls a ceasefire because like he knows that Batman's hurting. And he goes to Catwoman to tell her that like he needs you. Dick is dead. And she was like, just talk to him. He's your best friend. And he was like, I can't, too much has happened. So she goes to the Batcave and like consoles him. And meanwhile, this is what you guys are talking about, where Dick is kind of resurrected, and it's by Ramakrishna, which is DC's version of like the goddess of karma. So she like injects him with her powers to like, basically he's kind of like a floating ghost. Like he has all her knowledge, and
He's Deadman.
Yeah.
I want to say that happens in the later like volumes, because in the first maybe 2 volumes, it's like kind of the main characters, and then the war still continues to go on, and then they start recruiting more of the magical side of like magical heroes and stuff. So like Constantine eventually gets in there. Damian Blood, I think that's his name.
Jason Blood.
Jason Blood. And then the guy who
Etrigan.
says he's in there. And then I think that's when also Deadwing is introduced again. So I think they just like rushed that.
Yeah. And then during all this time, because Damian can't like reconcile with Bruce, he's like, well, I can further Superman's plan for like peace through force. And he connects him to his grandfather, which we know is Raish, Mr. Ra's al Ghul. But I like that they actually pronounce it correctly in this movie. And he's like, I'm working on something that can help you. And Superman's like, I will never ally myself to a villain, a known villain. So he says no. And then he tries to get help from Mr. Terrific instead. It's like, can you make more of your spears to like confiscate all the guns in the world? And he's like, there's no way to confiscate everything. And that's when they have this whole logic puzzle where it's like, if you take away the cigarettes from people, you can save more lives than you can with guns.
That was a pretty cool scene.
Or the people who have like people who get into car accidents and stuff like that. So he's like, so you're not going to help me? And he says no.
It's like, motherfucker, do you see this black tea on my face? No, I won't help you. Checkmate.
It's a tea for you better turn your ass around. And during this time, Batman's like, we have to get the Red Sun gun that can take down Superman. It's in the Fortress of Solitude. So
Red Sun gun, won't you come?
So they break in and they realize that Pa Kent is there, and they're like, oh shit, he's gonna think that we're trying to kill his dad or kidnap him, but we're really here for the gun. And sure enough, like their plan was for as it Captain Adam to fight
That
him.
shit was hella funny. They were like, "Oh, Captain Adam can. We've run simulations. I would fare well." And like the first scene of him
He's
is
like,
getting choked out by Superman. That shit was
Yeah.
hella-
I think in the comics he did do pretty well though. If I
remember in the Justice League cartoon, he was beating his ass for a while.
Yeah.
was
So
a
I
good
think
showdown.
he definitely held up against Superman. And then the scene with well, eventually we'll get to the point where Superman realizes it, and then there's like a little fight and everything. Rage comes in, and then Green
So
Arrow.
they're doing multiple things to try to buy them time to get the gun. So the first thing was Captain Adam was supposed to fight him, and he was able to catch on faster than they expected. So he basically just killed him. He just like, I think he just like choked him to death. And then the other clause was that they had the Atom in his brain with a shard of kryptonite.
That was pretty cool. I don't know if that was in the comic.
I don't remember, but that kind of incapacitated him for a little bit too.
Cool.
But before
went in through the butt, dude.
Before they can get the gun, that's when Raish comes and he blows the gun up. So they're like, oh, now what are we going to use? So I think Batman eventually gets a different kind of gun, which we see go into effect later in the movie. But during this time, Raish also like has him like breathe in like chemotherapy or something. And he's like, oh, it's not lethal to you, but it basically evaporated the Atom. So they killed a lot of people in this fight.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the last one, Green Arrow was like, don't make me do this. And he had a kryptonite tipped arrow and he shoots it at him and he just bats it away and it goes into his father. So he kills,
which I was like,
Jonathan Kent.
I was like, what? It's kryptonite. Like,
yeah.
If it gets anywhere close, if it gets
even
anywhere
when he's
close
holding
to him,
yeah,
like he should not be able to hit it away.
He would turn weak, but I don't think he would necessarily lose all of his powers. I don't know. It's situational with Superman and kryptonite. It could be like the smallest thing or the biggest thing, but
it was like a big piece too. And it like, even though it was like in his father's body and like killing him, it's not like it was wrapped in lead. Like he still should have been
Jonathan Kent's made of lead. It's safe. It's in my dad.
Oh, thank God. But this kind of turns the tide for Superman in so far as that he decides to hear Raish out and decides to align himself with him because he did provide useful. And it's revealed that he has the robot Amazo.
Amazo, dude. Amazo Prime 2-day shipping, dude. Oh my God.
And for those of you not familiar, Amazo is also kind of like an android bot, kind of like Vision, but he learns your moves. So like anytime he goes up against them, he like learns
that Norman Osborn haircut.
I don't think that was in the comics either. Like, and Superman aligning with Raish, I don't think that was in there.
Yeah.
I think that was just for the movie.
Yeah. But so this does two things. So he aligns with Raish, but he also kind of goes off the deep end and he was like, if you're a superhero and you're not vowing like fealty to the Justice League, then we're gonna come after you. And he releases all of these little like T-bots from Mr. Terrific. And I was like,
T-spheres.
Or T-spheres. I was like, why? I thought he wasn't gonna help him. And you find out that he put Mr. Terrific in prison.
So look at this T, motherfucker. I run T's and T. Look at this T. He killed. Superman kills a club, like a warehouse full of jokers that are partying or some shit.
Yeah. Wait. In the Fortress of Solitude, he also kills Green Arrow for killing his dad, even though he's the one who hit the arrow into his dad.
He does, which was I don't think he did that in the comics too. I forgot how Green Arrow died.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah,
I
so
don't know about that.
so after all of those drones are like in all the cities, that's when he sees that there's like people partying and he like breaks in. I was like, why is he breaking in the first place? It's not like there's violence detected there. It's just noisy and loud. And then he sees that all of them have the Joker face painted, and he's like, you're gathering in his name, and they call him a fascist.
Bro,
And
it's Halloween, bro. Ah, fuck.
and like it's a whole warehouse of people, and he kills all of them. And Batman's there to witness it, and he tries to go after him, and Catwoman's like, you're not going to help them by dying yourself, like you can avenge them other ways. And he kind of does that because he gets the footage of him creating this massacre, and he's able to broadcast it everywhere. He basically did what was in the fantasy from what was it, the boys.
This is basically the boys.
He was Homelander.
Yeah, he like Homelander when he like in his mind like blasted all those reporters and stuff. That's basically what he did to the Joker children. And like for a while, for a good bit of it, like Wonder Woman is 100% behind him, backing him, and she even tries to come on to him, and he's like, oh, it's too soon, like he's still mourning Lois.
That's in
And
the comic.
she only starts to turn on him after this video goes viral, because she's like, you murdered all these children, like they weren't
you.
Huh?
Because they offended you or something like that.
Yeah, she was like, they weren't committing any violent crimes, which is
Yeah.
what they were going after people for. It was just that they annoyed him because they were worshiping the Joker. Like they saw him as like a martyr. And then after all of that, they decide to break. They use Plastic Man to break Mr. Terrific out of prison, which I was like, man, Plastic Man's like the MVP of this movie.
Yeah, I don't remember him being such a pivotal role in the comics either.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
he's able to get down there, and then he's like, oh, do you have a plan? And he's like, Batman said that you would have a plan. And then that's when we first see Deadwing like actually interact with them, because he possesses Cyborg to blow open the ceiling of glass, which is in an underwater prison. Who thought that was a good idea? And they escape to meet back up with Batman's team. And then we find out that that thing that he took from the Fortress of Solitude is like some kind of dimensional cube thing that Mr. Terrific starts to configure. He hacks into the drone so that he can see what they're seeing via like all the monitoring things that Superman's running with those bots. But he also creates this like thing where he can cross to different universes. During all of that is when Amazo is like, Superman's like, oh, this drone will like basically detect if people are breaking the law, deploy it in a small city where like there's probably not a lot of crime going on, so it'll be pretty quiet. And it like goes berserk from someone littering. He detects someone littering, blows him up.
Thought he was in Compton, dude. He was just killing everybody.
And then the police tried to stop him. It was like a threat to my authority, so he blows them up. And like Superman's like, shut it down, it's malfunctioning. And he's like, no, it's functioning perfectly. You're the one that's malfunctioning. So that's when their partnership is terminated. Superman and Diana try to take on Amazo because he immediately kills Hawkman and Cyborg. And then eventually, I think Damian is still with Raish, right? And he's fighting him from the other side.
because he doesn't like agree with what Raish is doing, basically. So he ends up fighting him. And then that's when Dick enters him. That's when Dick
like,
enters
hey, little
Damian.
bro.
And then he
he possesses him.
So yeah, he possesses him, and
Why
that's
did
how
he
he
bend him
basically
over
wins.
to possess him? I didn't get that.
Got me.
Stupid.
Spread my ass cheeks to possess my soul.
Stupid. Like, watch your legs.
Did you spit in your hand before you entered me?
Gross.
But yeah, and then like
So that's how he beats him.
And yeah, so they beat Raish, and then Batman's team starts fighting Amazo too. And tell me how Batman's freeze grenade to the torso is what does Amazo in of all things. His
Yeah.
freeze grenade.
They're kind of
that
doing
whole
what
scene was like, what the hell?
they tried to do, like what they did with Thanos, where they're all pulling him in opposite directions, and then he throws a freeze grenade to the middle, and somehow they're able to stretch him enough that Catwoman can just kick him and like break him in half. Oh, and then Plastic Man enters him and like blows up like a balloon and explodes the rest of
Yeah,
him.
that whole scene was just like it was weird.
Damn, you couldn't have Liu Kang fly in with a bicycle kick. Just like,
I pictured him as a turkey.
Yeah, so that scene was weird.
Um,
That whole thing just
Yeah.
with Amazo, like I don't remember him being very important.
Present. Yeah.
Yeah, and then even Raish, I don't remember him unless some of this stuff happened in the volumes where I stopped reading.
Mhm.
But like maybe Raish in the movies kind of filled in the role of Lex because
Oh,
Lex
yeah,
wasn't in
Lex
this
was
at
a-
all.
Lex was a
But
huge
he was
part
huge.
of the movie or of the video
He was
game.
huge.
Yeah.
He was basically he was like a spy kind of like, so he was on Superman's side for the longest time, but he was actually working with Batman against him.
nice.
So
was Severus
he played
Snape.
a huge part. Yeah. So maybe I don't know why they didn't include him because Lex
I'm-
obviously is a huge
I'm getting the
part.
feeling they went with characters who would provide the simplest subplots because from the sound of it, this is ongoing and there's a lot of subplots going on and there's a lot of intricacies.
Maybe.
Yeah, because
It was the same thing with the DC animated movie Doom, which was based on Tower of Babel when Batman's like plans
Had all
to
those
take out the Justice-
contingencies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
it's
good one.
basically sounds like they took the base premise, and then they fleshed it out themselves in animated form, which sounds like that's what happened in this movie. They kept like the most basic parts, but then filled in the blanks.
Well, because
wherever.
even with Lex Luthor on Superman's team, he basically built himself like an Iron Man suit.
Oh,
like-
he
He
always
does,
does
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but it's just like I feel like that would take longer to tell that story on the side in this format.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, since you brought up that plot of all of Batman's like plans to take people down, he did implement some of them throughout the movie. Like
yeah, the cyborg one.
Yeah, Cyborg, he was like implanted a virus that like shocked him.
Right.
And then he scanned his files. He was like, when did you implant this? And the implant date was when they met, and it's them shaking hands. So he
Oh,
like
Batman's an asshole. Yeah, where have you been?
but anyway, during this whole Amazo fight, Mr. Terrific, he had talked about other universes in the past, and he brings over one of the universes, Superman, Earth 9 Superman. He's like, welcome to Earth 1. He's like, oh, we're Earth 1, you're Earth 22. I was like, oh, it's kind of
I don't
lit-
remember
light humor.
if I don't know if those numbers were correct, like which Earths were from
Yeah.
what, but that was accurate in Injustice, where pretty much they couldn't really do anything with the bad Superman, so they had to travel to different universe to get a regular good Superman to fight against the bad one. And that part was really dope in the game and in the comic, but they kind of changed it in the movie, which I didn't like too. And the movie also it just ended. It
It was
like,
very
It was
abrupt.
very
abruptly.
abrupt, yeah.
So the fight kind of reminded me of Invincible, where his dad is just like beating the crap out of him. He's like,
Yeah.
you're holding back, I don't have to. And that's why like the bad Superman ends up winning, and he's kind of like knocked out. I was like, oh, sucks
Yeah.
for Earth 9. They have no Superman anymore.
Yeah.
But Mr. Terrific brings back someone else to try to talk sense into him, and it turns out to be a heavily pregnant Lois. And it turns out that her Superman died while fighting Brainiac. So she tries to like relate to him by like, oh, we both had loss, but my Superman like believed in good. And she basically talks him down, and they said like, oh, we're gonna build a Red Sun prison to keep you captive, and we'll let you out when we need you. He's like, there's no need, like I understand what I did was wrong, and I'll help you whenever you need me to help you, and I'll stay where you need me to stay. And I was like, it was very like, I guess
And it just
seeing
ended.
another Lois would break through his grief, but it was like he killed a lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't like that ending. And then in the game, he doesn't go out like that. Like he basically the good Superman wins like in the fight, not like how they did in the comic. And then Batman doesn't say like, we're gonna build a Red Sun prison for you, and Superman just flies off. Like that doesn't happen in the comic. Like they do end up putting him in a Red Sun prison, which eventually they do need him because I think in the later volumes, Brainiac comes and then they can't do that much against him, so they have to break out.
You got to get a good Brainiac.
Superman.
Good Brainiac, talk him down.
Brainiac Lois comes. She's pregnant.
But yeah, so that I didn't really like that, and pretty much just overall.
I feel like the only reason I liked it is because I have no idea of the source material.
Yeah.
And it was another animated
Oh.
movie, so I was like, all right. Cool.
It also ended with Batman like, oh, it's time to make a change. Oh, because Superman's like, I understand what I did was wrong. I deserve death. And they're like, you don't get it that easy. That's why they're talking about capturing him and whatever. But the actual movie ends with Batman saying like, it's time for a change for the good or whatever. And he kisses Catwoman. And then that's like the last shot of the movie. It's like a very tidy ending.
It was a content ending because his scowl turned to
a meh.
Neutral.
That's in
neutral,
my
yeah.
notes. That's in my notes. He was
went
like
from a growl to a bored.
Yeah.
He didn't smile. That's a Batman smile. It's
yeah.
no smile whatsoever.
I had to pause it. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. So I get from your guys' point of view, since you don't know that much about it, you probably enjoyed it a little bit more than I did because you're just going in cold turkey.
Just hearing you describe the actual source material makes me dislike this.
I knew enough of the source material that I was like, it was okay. But
and even then,
Yeah.
on its by itself, on its own, there are still flaws. I mean,
Yeah.
Flash's headless body still dripping somewhere, and no one cares.
no one cares.
Yeah. I do suggest reading the comics at some point because it is hella good. That's like one of my top comics. Or just watching the credit scenes, dude, or the not credit scenes, the cut scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. The story is good, but they yeah, as I said before, it's weird how it already is an Elseworld story, like a what if story. So like, why would you make another version of that from the original one?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like just stick to it. You already have all the material there that's already good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kuya, are you gonna grade me out while I read all of the casualties?
Flash died, obviously, but
Jimmy,
oh,
Lois,
yeah, Jimmy.
Flash, all of Metropolis, Nightwing, Captain Atom, the Atom, Jonathan Kent, Green Arrow, Hawkman, and Cyborg. And then for the villain side, Scarecrow, Joker, Killer Croc, Clayface, Solomon Grundy, the Joker Children, and Amazo.
Didn't even mention the Kent fetus. Come on.
Lois
Bro.
and Kent fetus.
Jeez, I was already not on Wonder Woman and Superman side because those fuckers are anti-maskers, bro. Just up there without a mask. Get out of here. You know we're in a pandemic, bro.
They have a full-on romance in the source material. Like they
They
get
always do.
together.
Kingdom
Yeah.
Come, it always comes up.
I think the only time where she's with someone else is when she's with Batman in the Justice
she was
League
with
comic,
she was with
or-
Aquaman for a little bit in
oh yeah,
Flashpoint Paradox.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
It's all right. Not their
Yes.
best entry, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's still leagues above what the MCU movies, cartoon movies were putting out for a while. So
Mm.
I was surprised at who they had as like the heavy hitters in, like, not necessarily power wise, but like storytelling wise. Like they gave a huge part to Plastic Man and to Mr. Terrific. Like I was not
Yeah.
expecting that.
Same.
You like how that dude just took off his shirt and had like a pasty.
tea?
Yeah, he just
Yeah, I
had
was
like
like,
a
what the
pasty
hell?
stuck to him.
a
and it was-
pasty.
a pasty. And there was a tablet.
It was a T for titties, dude. It was just on there. I was like, what the hell is this? Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Overall, didn't really like it.
Yeah. It
I want
was
them to do
alright.
I want them to do a Kingdom Come animated movie. That would be so sick.
Mm.
That's the
They
one
might
where
mess it up.
yeah, that's the one where Superman retires and then he comes back when he's like grayed and old, and then like Billy Batson. I forgot the plot actually, but I just remember it being good. And if
It was
they
really good.
if they
And the
animate,
artwork is amazing.
if they animate it to look like an Alex Ross painting, that would be even doper.
So that was it for our long return to the Maganda Forever podcast. Again, I'm one of your co-hosts, Monica.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Vince.
See you guys soon. Less than 3 months.
I'm not Wakandan, but my bionic arm enhanced. Just say the words, I'm activated like a Nazi trance. Catch vibranium to your cranium, wanna glance. Full body cast from a Cyclops optic blast. I doubt you crews prepared for this hit. Catch a glimpse of who I'm with, have you scared of the clip? No heart-shaped herbs or any terrigen myths. I'm taking out your ankles on some anti-carrion shit.